First of all, though, to a part of the sea with which I'm not familiar, the inner world beneath the waves. Only a privileged few have had the opportunity to explore it personally, but the magic of the underwater camera has made it a reality to thousands more.
There, almost invisible against the rocks, the anglerfish. Its sharp dorsal fins standing out like some prehistoric monster. This grotesque fish must rate as one of the most extraordinary of our seas. Slow-moving and cumbersome on the seabed, he can strike with incredible speed at anything moving above that great mouth. We'll take no liberties with him. This massive head is just a huge fish trap, an enormous jaw with a mouth as wide as the head, and a flexible lure to attract his prey, even conger eels and small sharks. Although people may think of them as deep-water fish, angler are common around our shores and caught commercially in large numbers. See how the frill softens up the hard line of the jaw? There's a strange quality about this skin. It's quite different from other fish. Stretched tight across the bones, it feels as if there's no flesh in between. But there's no mistaking the tremendous power here. I think he's going to move. I'll try and stay with him if I can. I don't think there's a diver who wouldn't admit to feeling uneasy when he's confronted with one of these anglerfish at close range. But we must remember we're here to make contact, and to do this, we must see this animal in an entirely different light. As the beautiful and graceful creature he is.
Horrific looking chap, isn't he? Well, with me now, the makers of that film, the Inner World diving team. Laurie Emberson and Jeff Goodman. Laurie, that looked all nice and friendly. I did say he was a horrific looking chap, but how dangerous was it to handle that particular fish?
It did look easy, didn't it? I'd forgotten, really, just how much went into it. Yeah. Well, I suppose if you're careful, it isn't really a dangerous animal, but an anglerfish, and unlike other animals, can strike very effectively in one direction, which is straight up off the seabed. So when you're handling one, you must be very careful to steer it. In that particular case, I used my forearm and lifted his jaw.
Because at one stage you were on top of him, weren't you?
Yes, well, that's what I've got to be careful of. And when I was on top of him then, in fact, it doesn't show in the film, fortunately, I had my eyes shut because he slipped down the front of me, and that was the one chance he had to give me a bite, and he didn't do it. And that's what I was anxious about. So you must keep away from the top of the angler's head, and then you're relatively safe. But he's a formidable animal. Lifted his jaw.
Yeah. Jeff, from the point of view of looking at that, one tends to forget that it has to be filmed. Just how difficult is it to sort of make a film underwater?
Well, the problems will vary with what you're filming from day to day. If you make a comparison, say, with filming on land, suppose you have to film a wild animal in its environment, and you have certain conditions which you have to film it in. Now, first of all, suppose you're only allowed to film it on a very foggy day, so your visibility is from 5 feet to 25 feet. You've also got to do it in very strong wind, so you can just stand up. So if you relax for a moment, you're blown off your feet. At the same time, you've got to wear, say, a 60-pound backpack, just to make you a little uneasy on your feet. Then throughout the day, you're only allowed half an hour's filming. So suppose you locate your animal in a general area. You have to then find your animal, set up the shot, and film within half an hour. And sometimes on a good day, you'll get 2 half-hour stints.
Well, from what you say, it's obviously a very much more difficult job than it is just doing the normal sort of filming that, as you say, that one does on land. But I know your sort of philosophy of going down beneath the waves is to sort of get to know the environment, and what you're trying to do, I think, with the films, isn't it, is to get across to people what these creatures are like in their own environment, not as a sort of hunter. Would that be right?
Yes, it's not. I mean, it's not a mystical thing, but what we felt, and I mean, Jeff and I have discussed this at some length, is that what's really needed is to get some sort of identity and involvement with the animal, with an underwater animal like a fish, because people readily identify with an animal on the land, but not so readily under the sea. A wet, cold fish on a slab is something you don't particularly want to identify with. So what we're trying to do is to show that you can establish a relationship with an animal under the sea just the same as you can on the land.
Yeah, well, it's all right for you two to do it because you're experienced divers. But what about somebody that's not very experienced? I mean, what are the sort of things that they've...
Well, a man who's not very experienced, if he goes in with that attitude, he's going to get a lot closer to achieving that objective than he is if he goes in and sees them as an alien creature or something without intelligence or interest.
Well, I said earlier that only a privileged few have had the opportunity to explore the inner world. But now a little surprise. Thanks to Laurie and Jeff, after suitable training, I myself was able to join them beneath the waves. Here I come in the yellow life jacket. Laurie, you're right behind there, keeping an eye on me. How am I doing?
Oh, you're doing very well. I've got you on that line. We feel is quite important for a beginner.
Yeah.
You haven't had that much experience. I wouldn't keep it on you for too long, but at this stage it's a good thing.
Nice and clear down the Jeff, isn't it?
It is very clear, yeah, beautiful. Because we've got a wide-angle lens on, so we're very close to you there.
Looking very confident and relaxed, Craig, eh? Standing there as if you're out of the water.
Yeah, the problem for me was that, of course, you know how talkative I am, Laurie, and I wanted to communicate.
For you, Craig, that must have been an enormous problem.
It certainly was. So the thing is, you open your mouth down there and everything goes wrong, doesn't it? Oh, there's the fish.
Ah, there it is, yes.
Right, I just grabbed that.
No.
Oops.
Too rough. No, it must be much more gentle than that.
Yep.
You just upset one of the best stars from our last film, Craig.
Yes, I look very disappointed there, didn't I, off balance? You see, I was sort of neutral buoyancy type thing. This is what I found unusual. And now we're off to this wreck, Jeff, isn't it? What's that?
I think that's just a bit of the bow section off an old steamship. I think she went down in about 1891.
There wasn't an awful lot of fish or life around there, was there?
No, it's very empty actually. I think it's a bit shallow there.
Mm. Yeah, we were down about 10 metres, something like that.
Yes, maximum.
Yes, we're kicking up a bit of sediment there, Craig. It's not entirely you. I'm doing it as well. I'll take responsibility for some of it.
Well, you're having to control that line that you've still got on me to
Yes.
keep in touch, haven't you?
Yes. You're working too hard as well.
Is that why there's so many bubbles coming up there, isn't it?
Yes, you're taking a lot of air down. Look at all that effort.
Yeah.
That's quite attractive.
Yes, some lovely shots there, Jeff, over the top there, isn't it? You see, as you go around the top now with all the bubbles, it's certainly a lot of action there, isn't there?
That's an old classic effect, isn't it?
Yeah.
All
Oh,
the
yes.
bubbles going up.
Cameraman's being kind to cover up your leg movement.
Yes, thanks very much, Laurie. And it got very clear here, though. This is where you're trying to position me, Laurie, isn't it?
Yes, go get another fish, I think. Right,
go.
you're very good. You stayed put.
Well, it wasn't... where could I go?
Weight on his feet.
I just had to wait for you to come back.
I was a bit uneasy, nevertheless.
Yes, I'm looking around now, waiting to see what's going to happen next. Here we
Right,
come.
Now then. Nice and gently this time. That's better.
You got your hand against his nose. That stops him going away, does it, Laurie?
Well, it gives you a chance to balance him on your hand and get used to him.
That's another place. What sort of size is he?
All 3.5, 4 pounds, I suppose.
He seemed quite happy there.
Perhaps a little more.
The thing that amazed me, having seen a fish and been down there for the first time in that environment, how happy they were. You know, they didn't sort of go off in violent movements or anything.
Yeah, well, if you're relaxed with them and careful, they don't mind. It's the hard, sudden movements that upsets them.
Yes, he seemed
That's
quite
good.
happy then. I was stroking him like a cat, you know, this was my immediate response to him.
He got a bit fed up there.
Yeah, it's had enough, Craig.
There I go, as they say in nautical terms, in hot pursuit. Well, Laurie, I thoroughly enjoyed that, but
Yes, I did too.
in case there are people at home who will be interested in sort of starting aqua diving in that sort of thing, just how much does it cost, the sort of equipment that you had on there?
Well, like every sport, it's quite expensive, I suppose, from about £400 upwards.
So you'd need £400 before you
would
even
think
started
so,
to buy the
yes,
aqualung
yes,
and,
yes.
and
Buying responsible gear that's effective, I think, from £400, and that's not a high figure. Because you could buy. I mean, we're fortunate because we have a backer for our filming equipment. But if you're going to buy good gear, you've got to spend £400 to £500, certainly.
But Jeff, there's another important thing. It's all very well going out and spending £400 on gear, but I mean, it would be crazy surely to go straight down beneath the waves. You need a certain amount of training. Now, how much does that cost? Or perhaps first, how should people go about being trained for this?
I think your local swimming pool will usually have an advert for their local diving club, wherever you are. There's one in Torbay and Totnes and various places. So the thing to do is get in touch with your local diving club.
So
And they'll take you through full training.
Yeah, and you go along then to a sub-aqua club, and they teach you how to do the job properly, because of course it is tremendously important.
That's right.
People do these things
Do
safely.
it properly.
Laurie Emberson, Jeff Goodman, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.